It's time for IP in the news. And who do we have on the table this evening?
Well, we have the United States Patent and Trademark Office, the USPTO.
Of course. And what is the PTO up to these days?
So the PTO has a special category of patents, and they award a prize every year, and it's called Patents for Humanity. And it covers various inventions that help humanity. And they have added a COVID-19 category. So if your patent gets chosen, you get a prize from the PTO, and you can't get that prize anywhere else.
That's right, because it's a petition to make special for accelerated examination. Now, who wouldn't want one of those? I mean, really, the patent office nailed it with their marketing this time.
I would want one if I was waiting on my patent. If I had investors waiting to see if my patent went through.
Why not a trip to Hawaii or a free iPad? I mean, that's so much.
Because you can get those anywhere. You cannot get an accelerated examination for free anywhere except the PTO.
That's right. That's exactly the point.
Anyway, let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay.
So why don't you talk about this one, because you have way too many jokes for this one.
Oh, yes, that's true. I actually think a little bit about the show before we do it. Doesn't usually seem to make a lot of difference, but it makes me feel better. We have here a Mustache Guard, and it was patented in 1876. I can't read it looks like the inventor's name is Tyler Gates, and for those of you at home who...
It's Virgil A. Gates.
I was reading the hand sign version down here.
Okay, whatever.
So whatever.
Anyway.
But as for those of you at home who are on the radio, all right, I'm holding it up on the radio. It's really like it's really like a mini COVID mask that men put over their mustache, and it can, well, why don't you read about what it says is the...
Yeah, so this was his explanation for inventing this. One paragraph out of this one-page patent.
They wrote them shorter in those days.
They sure did.
Patent attorneys make more money now, but...
So every gentleman who wears a mustache must have experienced the great inconvenience that it causes in eating and drinking, especially in eating soups and other kinds of food of similar consistency.
Right. So this keeps your mustache clean while you're eating. And, you know, my first question is, well, is it better to look at a mustache full of soup, or is it better to look at a mustache guard full of soup, right? Because
my response was neither. And then Richard had this wonderful idea. I don't know if you guys know the restaurant Per Se in New York. It's a Michelin rated restaurant. So
right. And so I could just imagine sitting down for dinner and the waiter standing up behind you and putting your mustache guard on as they're about to serve the shrimp cocktail. So
yes. And I was saying they always stand behind me, because, you know, at those nice restaurants, they have that little tiny broom and dustpan. They come and get all the crumbs off, or they use a credit card. Like, I eat all the bread, so there's always crumbs. So they just gotta stand
but you can, it doesn't have to be out of cloth. It can be made out of other materials too. What are those, right? Do you remember what they...
Yes. So let's see. Where does it say? Oh, it may be made of vulcanized rubber, metal, or any other suitable material of proper form and size to fit over the upper lip and mustache.
So back in 1876, vulcanized rubber was like the thing, right? That was like the new material. And
they didn't have plastic.
No. Maybe somebody should refile this application. Obviously, it never caught on because being published.
Well, how do you know?
Well, that's true. I
haven't seen back then.
I watched Downton Abbey all the time, and they never see a mustache guard on any of the shows. That's
okay, well, I want to hear what everybody else thinks about these two items, or if they have another IP question. So let's do Richard's roundtable.
So it's time for Richard's roundtable. We would like to ask our guests if you have any questions or comments about what you just heard. So Tyler, why don't you go first and jump right in?
Well, first of all, I think that definitely had its application. Everybody knows that a mustache was a sign of wealth and authority back in the day. So I'm assuming then you must have had to keep it clean. And I want to bring the mustache back into style. So to Elizabeth's point, how do I grab that patent? How do I refile that thing? I want to know.
You're talking to the right people. We'll have to connect after the show. Take this to the next level.
These days it would have advertising on it, right?
No, you need, yeah,
Exactly.
like LED, like, you know, little messages going across the fact. You have to.
Sell them during November. I'll make a fortune.
Well, you do have a health and safety company, so this fits right in, right?
So
Exactly.
get OSHA to write a regulation for it, and then all of your companies have to wear it.
Okay, let's move on.
Who's next? Kenya, you've got I can see the wheels turning there.
Well, I had to Google to see if anyone actually recreated a version of this, and someone actually did. It's called the Mo Guard. So what they did is they took the same type of application and they made a guard to go over a cup or a bowl of soup. So it actually protects your mustache from getting soup or any kind of beverage on it. Actually, they're selling them on Amazon.
Oh my gosh.
So it's sort of the reverse idea here. Is that right?
Oh, sorry, Tyler.
Sorry, Tyler.
I was so close. So close.
Jessica.
All right, Jessica, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the mustache here. I have a lot of questions. So when it comes to patents, would you actually have to get a different patent for every different type of mustache, like the handlebar or the dolly? And there's so many types of mustache.
You know, that
This
is
a great question.
Great question. And we get asked this question all the time, especially about mustaches. And the fact is there's two types of patents. There's the utility patent, which covers all the different variations, and a design patent, which only covers the exact version that you've got. So it's possible to cover all mustaches in one shot for sure.
Amazing. Thank you.
Susan?
Yeah, well, this is definitely educational because I had no idea that existed, but so like, and never had that problem, you know, not having had a mustache, thank goodness. But like the guard over the cup or bowl, I guess, would not violate the patent of the mustache. So I guess how closely related are things to stay, you know, separate?
Oh, well, that is a really a good question. So really the patent only covers the scope of the invention, and if the cup cover really would be outside the scope of the mustache guard, even though they kind of do the same thing, but they do it differently. So in the patent world, it would be two different things, sort of like a horse and buggy in a car, right? Yeah.
But if you wanted to make a mustache guard today, you probably couldn't get a patent because this would be prior art. But since this patent has expired, because they expire after 20 years, you would do what's called a freedom to operate, and you could sell it just without a patent.
That's right. So if you want to copy this, if any of our fans want to go into the mustache guard business, reach out to us. We'll get you the patent number, and then you can take it from there.
So, Benny.
And then also, Benny, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I know you touched on how short it was. I'm curious if there is one reason that patents got so much longer and so much more detailed. What is it, to be more protectable, or what is maybe some of the driving behind that?
That is also a good question, and it has nothing to do with the fees that lawyers charge for patents. In fact, it's more about protecting as many variations on an idea as you can. In the olden days, the patents were very narrow and they only covered just exactly what you see in the drawings. But over time, the courts allowed the scope of protection to expand. So for example, if I were trying to file a patent on this desk in front of us, I would cover different materials: wood, plastic, metal, and I would cover a square top, a round top, L-shaped top, 5 or 6 legs, drawers or no drawers. I'm trying to protect the concept of the desk, whereas in the olden days, the law was such that you only protected the exact item. And therefore, the patents are longer because you have more variations. So
Excellent. So we should go to break.
we should go to break. So you're listening to Passage to Profit with Richard and Elizabeth Gerhardt. We'll be right back after this.